Hey, Spiritual Squad. Happy New Year. Hope everyone is doing well. I decided to take a chance in the elements. It's cold now here on the East Coast. You can see there's snow in the background. But I also wanted to be out in the presence of the elements, to talk about the elements. As you know, the new year has already started and it's already been challenging for people. So, one of the things I just want to remind everybody, those that have been around me for over a year, you know that I follow the Chinese New Year, and that's my true New Year, the spiritual New Year. And so that's coming up the second week or so. So I want to talk to you about this month and give you some advice and some good things to think about. So I know January 1st started the new year here, and some things have not necessarily been good for people, and there's a lot of transition. So I want to kind of remind people that we are sort of technically still in the old year, 2021. And in terms of the spiritualism things going forward, the new year is coming shortly, and that follows the Chinese New Year, which this year is February 1st. So I want to remind you of that. So that, kind of think about that. So with that being said in mind, I want to talk about where we're at right now, the state that we're in, and in terms of things to think about with this challenging times. The great thing, I'm so excited about the new year that's coming and things that's going to be happening great. So this year is going to be phenomenal. So I'm going to give you my annual spiritual advice for the year that's coming up after the 1st February. And I'm excited about some of the things that are coming. But a little bit of showcase of that, it's going to be a really great year. It's a start of year, it's a new beginning for a lot of things, and especially business. So for now, some of the things you want to think about in this element of change and transition, we really, really want to think about where we're at and what's to be next. And when I say transition, that's a transformation, that's things for us to think about, and even how it's important to kind of give thought in your plans. So you really probably should take some time and look back on last year, kind of figure out what were your successes of last year? Did you really take the time to look at? You'll be surprised, a lot of great things happened, although there were a lot of challenges too. But did you take the time to go back and reflect on that? That's the one thing I want you to do. I really, really encourage everyone to kind of go back to the plans that you may have had last year. Look at those old things, figure out, were you really successful? And you'll be surprised how much you really got done. So that's one. So it's a time to reflect. It's also time for transformation. So the only way you're gonna know if things change is if you kind of look back at what you did. So I want you to first go back to even my old videos. Go back to the advice I gave on the podcast. Go back and see what did you really accomplish? And I hope you were really aggressive about plans, and then also about what you wanted to do last year. So I really encourage you. So one of the things you're going to do is that reflect and look at all that you did last year. You're going to be so surprised of your accomplishments. And the second part of that is looking at your feelings and your emotions. And last year was very, very emotional. And so I challenge you also to kind of look at where you've changed. It was a great time that we had to let go a lot of things, and a lot of people, situations, and a lot of things. And that was also told to you to think about too. And so with the transformation, then you're going to realize you really probably got over a lot of hurdles. And so this time about overcoming hurdles and challenges and people, situations, you got to be diligent and respectful and loving to yourself. How much did you really spend loving you with all of this? And I offer that thoughts around that. The last thing is, in this season now of reflection, it's really about water and movement. And so I'm really saying to you that right now in this stage, you can see water's in a different kind of state right now. And it's frozen. It's falling down. It's kind of sky. And I really want you to think about that water. And this time in the water being cleansing and the removal of things. At the same time, providing lubrication to yourself. loving yourself, and reflections of water. So I really ask you to give a little bit of thought about that, drinking more water, be in the presence of it. And so even as we see in water in this embodying here, it falls from the sky, and here you see it's very different. It doesn't look like what we're familiar with, which is kind of the same thing about transformation. So we sometimes have to be okay that we've changed, and the way we think about things changing, how we see the world changing. And so the only way you can really be at peace is that, just like the state of water, it's settled down, it's stopped, it's frozen, it's cold. And some of that part is going to require you to kind of do that for yourself. And if you can imagine, just as water, as we can see it consciously looking different, what about you? Do you see yourself different? Can you really see what you have become? And I hope you can think about it positively, and I hope that reflection ends up being positive too. And even though some of it may felt like it was hurtful, or things just went not quite according to plan, but did you have a plan? So that's the part we're saying. So if we're going through looking at everything, did you really have a plan? And did you really execute it? So then if you did, trust me, you would have noticed. If you took my advice, you look at some of the things I implemented, some things I suggested from last year, you really should be feeling good about yourself. And if this year you didn't quite do that, kind of be plan driven, because this is going to be really important. And that whole transformation part, then you're going to have to be honest with yourself. And honesty is going to hurt in some cases. I don't want us to think that way, but in that way of kind of looking at what needs to change, you've got to really look at yourself, and it's going to be a little bit heartfelt. But at the same time, it could be exciting, because it could be you're releasing things, you're moving forward, you're excited about all these things, of new things. So in a state of transformation, it's all about water. It's really about reflections, your success, and I challenge you to do that now. You think you can do that? I hope you can do that, because I'm rooting for you, all of us. So it was a great time last year. There were a lot of losses too, so I'm not going to deny that, and in the state of the health. So, and there's a lot of misinformation, and that's why I said about really transformation and reflecting. Did you really do your diligence to do the research? Did you really look at all the things? Did you just buy into what people said? Because it's your future, it's your plans, and the only way you can know it's going to be an assessment yourself and look at what that looks like. And so right now, if you're diligent about that transformation yourself, then you'll be at a different kind of peace, because you gave it your best. Maybe you didn't give it your best, and that's what this is really about. So I challenge you, transformation is a key component. Water is right now, and looking at things very differently. And it's a stillness time. And if you're willing to do that, then it's going to be easier. So get ready for the new year. It's not New Year yet. It's coming up February 1st. I got some great things. I've got New Year's kit coming up. And that New Year's Chinese New is a limited edition. I don't make a whole lot on purpose. If you are serious about your life and getting things ordered, you'll get it together. You'll order it. You get it ready for that. The second part of that is the plans that are coming. I'm phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I'm excited about it. And this year, and a little bit of tidbit, yellow's the color. Yellow is about direction. Navigation of where you're going. You can't know where you're going unless you look back to go forward. So I wish you the very best. I'm looking forward to next session. Please like, share, listen to my podcast. I'm going to do even better this year, come out more things, and quick off the cuff things. So I say that to you, and see you next time.